that through the labors of government, this land and people may be well and truly served. Their good purposes for the common human life be realized in our midst. O God, grant us the vision of our country, fair as it might be, country of righteousness, where none shall wrong his neighbor, country of plenty, where evil and poverty shall be done away with, country of brotherhood, where all success shall be founded on service, and honor shall be given to the deserving, country of peace, where government shall rest on the will of the people and the love for the common good. Bless the efforts of those who struggle to make this vision a living reality. Inspire and strengthen our people, that they may give time, thought, and sacrifice to speed the day of the coming beauty of Ghana and Africa. Amen. Hassan, kindly resume your seat. Honourable members, before we start the meeting, the Honourable Ranking Member of the committee wishes to make a short statement. After that, we will continue.
Chairman, let me thank you for the opportunity, and to our colleagues. The Appointments Committee is a committee of Parliament and operates like other committees of Parliament within our standing orders. We plays a critical role in the scrutiny and assessment of the President's nominee for office of Ministers of State, Deputy Ministers of State, and other bodies that require parliamentary approval. In the last few hours, the Appointments Committee collectively took some decisions, and let me state it emphatically, collectively took some decisions. The Appointment Committee is not the minority caucus, nor is it just the majority caucus. It's us all working together as a committee to assess the ministers. Yes, we examine knowledge of subject matter, we examine temperament when necessary, but certainly not whether a nominee is arrogant or not arrogant. That is not our business. We may look at your temperament and humility and the way with which you will relate to the Ghanaian people in the distribution of public goods and services. We also will look at your contribution to public service, your integrity, and matters of morality. My understanding, as many are speculating, the chairman will forward to a number of our colleagues legitimate concerns, lawful, that we have raised about them, and therefore when that is communicated, we will look at them. In respect of the Honorable Hawa Kumsen, as many of you may recall, she was on this floor of Parliament when we asked her about the status of the shooting incident. She said it was still under investigation and she has not been charged. Therefore, we require further information in taking a decision on her if we're satisfied that the investigative process were conclusive, bearing that we have every right to raise a red flag on her. In respect of Dr. Owusu Afriye Akoto, there are many reasons, as I've said. Chairman will reach out to them. We are unhappy about the termination of a contract at the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority which has occasioned some loss and a major disincentive to foreign investors. Some Dutch businesses have expressed concern about it and will require further information from him. There was some other matter in relation to another entity that we mentioned. So when he does get opportunity, in respect of the Honorable Kojo Oppong Nkrumah, we are carefully reviewing the tape of his answers to our questions to appreciate the issues. But it had to do with Oval Microfinance and the official position of the Bank of Ghana on it. We require clarity from the Bank of Ghana as to whether he owes or not. There is a matter relating to a media house that is also being looked at. In respect of the Honorable Kweku Agyeman Menu, we demand that somebody must be responsible for the procurement of the Frontiers Healthcare Services Limited, which is charging Ghanaians $150 at the port. We seem not to be getting satisfactory answers as to how the procurement process was done and completed. We've had some evidence of some information of renting of offices in it. He has to respond to it, including the lab polyclinic that I may be visiting shortly to appreciate the state of work at the lab polyclinic. In respect of Honorable Osla Owusu, she gave some assurances regarding the contract with Kelvin GVG. We are looking at it in terms of the monthly issue, but as I've said, clarification on some matters relative to the closure of some radio FM stations. So when they appear before our committee, we'll look at it. Kwesi Amoakwata is just to respond to the issue of a PPP contract which was signed for the Tema Motorway expansion, which figures increased from $480 million to $570 under PPP. There's no cabinet or parliamentary approval, and a PPP law have been signed. We are elucidating further information with him on this to get clarity from him on the status of it. I don't think that people should conclude that there is some wrongdoing concluded by the appointments committee or untoward issue. Honorable Godfred Dami will also respond to some matters relative to his role at the PPA. So let it not be said anywhere that the appointments committee, particularly led by the minority, are assessing people based on whether they are arrogant or not. We are simply in respect of some persons demanding better particulars in respect of some roles they played in their public life to appreciate it. So Chairman will be inviting the nominees to meet the committee, but essentially not in camera. We'll deal with them at our committee level. But Chairman, let me conclude by saying that in the decisions that we take, we are guided by Article 94 of the Constitution. Minimum requirement to be minister and minimum requirement to be MP, and whether you have any proven criminal record or whether there is a commission of inquiry that has indicted you, which findings have not been set aside. Those will be the primary parameters of our decision. So subject to satisfactory responses of this, we will collectively take those decisions. I thank you, Chair, for your indulgence.
Honorable colleagues, yesterday at the meeting here, none of these matters were discussed. It is this morning that these matters were forwarded to me by the Chief Whip, Deputy Ranking Member. Some of them, I look at them myself and I compare with the answers that we're giving. They are not matching the issues that are led to have been raised. So I encourage you to stay away from making public pronouncements on things which undermine the integrity of this committee. If you go out to say a person said A, B, C, D, E, for which reason we are doing Y, X, Y, Z, but the video shows clearly that he did not say the things you allege he said, and you purport to speak on behalf of a committee which has not asked you to. You purport to be a decision of a committee which has not taken any such decision. I think it was for good reason that the leadership decided that these are the matters, we discussed them, we agreed, we'll move on. Those matters are matters you said you wanted further clarification. But before the matters reached me, They're already being discussed in the media. I think it is most unbecoming of us, any one of us who participated in this, who encouraged this discussion. Indeed, by our standing orders, one of the acts which can bring you to the Privileges Committee is discussing matters at a committee which is intended for the House but has not reached the House. Sometimes people say I'm too strict, but truly, that's my training. These are the rules, we go by it. So please, let us work as a team, as a committee. We can always agree to disagree, and that's why it is a democracy. But we should not take out of here matters which have not been decided by the committee and discussed as if they are committee. This committee has no power to reject anybody. Let that be clear. This committee has no power to reject anybody. Our duty is to make recommendations to the House. The House may accept or refuse our recommendations. There's nothing going on here which is final. If we understand that, that will influence our discussion. If I have a problem with anybody, yes. But it has never been the case that why we voted back this way or left way reasons have been given. Why anybody voted for me and not any of my opponents, nobody asked them. What we do is vote, take a decision. So we should please stop pretending that some authority is vested in us as a committee or members, individual members, to make conclusions on the fate of any members. Please, let's work as a team, as a committee. Let us present our report. Let's discuss whatever we have at the plenary. Make all the comments we want to make at the plenary. But before then, please, let's avoid reading into matters, providing reasons which committee members are not aware. If you picked any of our reports, you won't find any of those things in them, but they are presented as things that have happened in the committee. I encourage members to move away from that and let us work as a team. Well, thank you very much. Yes. Now, kindly bring in the nominee. Kindly administer the oath, please.
I, Simon Osei Mensah,
swear by the Almighty God
swear by the Almighty God that the evidence I shall give before this committee
that the evidence I shall give before this committee
touching the matter in issue
shall
be the truth,
the whole truth,
and nothing but the truth.
and nothing but the truth.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Honorable members, let me also now announce at the outset that in view of our circumstances, we have discussed and agreed at leadership that for each of the nominees, 6 people from each side will be allowed. So the leadership will determine which 6 people can ask questions before we come to leadership. Thank you very much. Honorable Frederick Osei Mensah, you've been a member of Parliament for 3 terms. You were a member of the ECOWAS Parliament and indeed a Deputy Speaker of the ECOWAS Parliament. You've been a Regional Minister for the region of Ashanti in the last 4 years. You probably are learning to compete with the chiefs in Ashanti, so now with your cloth, how rich and how well you have worn it, it shows that royalty is seeping into you gradually. Now, many of us here have known you in the House and at the ECOWAS Committee. Now, in addition to these 3, which for our purposes, qualification to be a minister, is there any other thing you may wish us to know?
All right, thank you very much. First of all, Honorable Chairman, I wish to take this opportunity to congratulate members of the committee for your successful elections, since this is the first time I'm meeting you. I pray that the Almighty God will give you the strength and courage and wisdom to execute your responsibilities for the betterment of Ghana. Honorable Chairman, besides the 3 things that you mentioned, I taught at Adebi Commercial Institute, teaching mathematics and economics. That was after 6-4. I did my national service at Consulting for Innovations in Human Settlement Development. And then after my national service, I was fully engaged. Thus, I completed the national service in 1992, and then I was engaged immediately after that. Then, about a year and a half later, I got appointment at Agricultural Development Bank as a credit officer. Some of the banks called project.
Honorable nominee, that's fine. We are happy about all that. All that matters to us is that you qualify by our constitutional arrangement. So now we'll open the floor for members to ask you questions. Let your experience reflect in how you answer your questions, right? All right. Now, Honorable Minority Leader will start.
Chairman, let me also welcome and congratulate our colleague Simon Osei Mensah, who would be representing the president in a key and important region of the country, Ashanti region. And Chairman, just going through his CV, this is just for my nomenclature purposes. I see you say you are acting Ashanti Regional Minister. I will prefer President Representative in Ashanti Region, noting that others may disagree with me. The Supreme Court ruling in J.H. Mensah versus Attorney General that you yourself have read, I would rather prefer that you are representing the president in that capacity. Now, Chairman, I don't see committees he served in Parliament. Take your CV and show me where you have itemized which committees of Parliament you served on. Okay, I've seen it now in paragraph 5B, public accounts. Suffice it to say that you just leave it open-ended without giving us some, the lapse period, the sunset. There's always a 6th January 2017 and a 6th January 2020. So take note of that. I'm sure Chairman will indulge you to deal with it. The Ashanti region, road infrastructure remains a major problem. We all drive through. If I have to go to Tamale via Techima, Akumadan, I have to come through Swami. And the difficulty is that there's just one-way traditional route. Other than that, no option. There's no alternative route. If I want to drive out and avoid the congested traffic in the Ashanti region to get up to Bunu and to the north, what will you do about that should you get confirmed as minister? Thank you, Chairman.
All right, thank you very much. There are 2 things I'm considering. The first one is to have a second ring road around Greater Kumasi. That road will pass through Ejoso, Jabin, Kwabri East, Nkawie, Atumako Angoma, Bosomtwi, and it will join Ejoso again. When we have this second ring road, vehicles that have no business in the central business district area of Kumasi will just join the second ring road, and when we get to the point that they have to turn, then they will turn. So for instance, if you have to use the Techima road, you may not need to drive up to Araga Junction before you turn right. But you join the ring road just before Ejoso, and then you branch off. And the designs have been completed. The other option is to look at critical link routes. For instance, you get to Apatrapa Junction, there's a route that we can use to join Kwabri East. Or when you get to Buankra, immediately after Buankra, there was a critical link road that goes through Jabin, which will not need to come back to Araga Junction. So these are the 2 options we are considering now. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. Chairman says he has a follow-up. Thank you.
Honorable Minister, these designs were in place when I was working at DVLA 20 years ago. We've been talking about them. The road reservations that we made are being encroached upon because no action is taken. Why should I be hopeful that in the next 4 years anything will happen?
Honorable Chairman, when you graciously gave me the nod and I was sworn in 2017, the major problem in Ashanti region was road infrastructure. So I prioritized the route. The first one I did was to ensure that all bridges that were broken, but the roads were very good. We fixed those bridges. Then I look at some major roads leading to Kumasi. And the most important one was the Accra-Kumasi road that has the highest volume of traffic. And the major problem on that road was to remove the 4 roundabouts that were creating traffic congestion and a lot of accidents in the Kumasi metropolis or maybe in Ashanti region. Now, after removing them, then I had to look at the highways. Now, most of the highways have been awarded on contract. So, my preoccupation will be on the outer ring road now, because some improvement, I won't say we've reached where we want to go, but some improvements have been achieved in the road sector. And for that matter, I'll give a lot of concentration on the outer inner ring road and critical link roads.
Chairman, if we were to follow up on yours again, so state of roads in Ashanti region, tell us what percent is motorable, what is unmotorable, what is good. You are the leaders with that. What's the state of road? You say good work have been done. Share with us the good work.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member. Honorable, we have about 40% that you can see are good. That is within the Greater Kumasi area. Then about 30-something very good, and we have the rest being bad. But it's an improvement, even though we still lag behind when it comes to road development. During the last 4 years, with the help of the Minister for Roads and Highways and other people, some of the members of Parliament from the region and some other people from the region, we were able to obtain 189 separate projects, road projects. 40 of them highways, then 49 urban roads, and then 100 feeder roads. And the total length is 2,099 kilometers. But for the COVID, I'm sure most of them have been completed. But I believe that this term we'll complete most of them and then get more projects in addition. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chairman. Ashanti again noted for its rich cultural heritage. The Adua dance, if you read Professor Nkatia or many of the values and cultures of the Ashanti people, may his soul rest in peace. Yet we are not even able to export it. But that is possible. What's your view on what to do for tourism development for the Ashanti, taking advantage of those cultural practices for purposes of exports?
Thank you very much, Honorable. Honorable, this particular term, if you give me the nod, my focus will be on the tourism sector, among others. But during my first term, I had discussions with the Minister for Trade and Industries and Otumfo, the possibility of we obtaining international patent rights, for instance, for Kente. As we are all aware, Kente originated from Ghana, but now some other countries are coming out with some designs that appear to be Kente. And until we get the patent right for Kente, for instance, it will be difficult, which is a major aspect of our culture. Kente is not woven only in Ashanti region. I know parts of Volta regions too, they produce Kente. So if we are able to obtain patent right for the weaving of Kente, it will help us and improve upon the culture of this country, and it will boost also tourism. The other aspect will be Lake Bosomtwi, which already some two investors have come. They've shown interest. I've asked them to submit detailed proposals so that we look at it. We want to see if it's possible that we develop Lake Bosomtwi into an integrated international tourism center, ecotourism center, where people can go and visit. At least that is the only natural lake in West Africa. And if we are able to develop it, it will help us a lot. The first step we needed to do was the road to Lake Bosomtwi from Kumasi was very bad, but it has been awarded on contract, even though it's not moving as fast as we want. Some portions have already been asphalted, and the moment we finish, it will ease travel from Kumasi to Lake Bosomtwi. And if these two investors, at least if one can come up with a very acceptable proposal, maybe you can develop the place, as I'm thinking too. an integrated international ecotourism center. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chairman. Chairman, again, President John Dramani Mahama, as he then was, initiated the modernization and redevelopment of the Kumasi Central Market. You inherited it. We know that government has further secured financing to expand it. There are problems in those who originally were occupants in the shops and stores. And we've had even conflicts between you and the mayor of Kumasi in the distribution. What is the status of those stores? Or just speak to the market development project. The first phase, where is it? The second phase, where are you with it? Thank you, Chair.
All right, thank you very much. Unfortunately, the committee that oversees the management of the market, surprisingly, the Regional Coordinating Council is not involved. So anytime the regional minister or the Regional Coordinating Council comes in, then there's a problem between the management committee and either the contractor or the traders. What I know now is that all the shops have been allocated, even though initially there were some challenges. But the shops have been allocated. The first batch, those who were there in 2015, before the project commenced, have been moved to the place first. And then the land where we needed to commence the second phase, also we started, but they say they need more additional land, which we've worked on, and I've issued a press release that by the end of 7th of this March, we want them to leave so that we don't have problems with the financing of the project.
Chairman, I know that this is done, led by the Ministry for Local Government and Rural Development. Other parts of the country may require same. Do you anticipate a third phase of that project?
Yes, definitely there should be a third phase of the project, because if we don't get the third phase, it will be extremely difficult for us to decongest the central business district area.
The market women are not happy with the committee working on it, and they think that in allocating the shops, there was some discrimination against a section of them. What do you have to say to that?
Yes, such reports came to me. That is why the movement is being delayed. So at that point, I had to set up a committee at the Regional Coordinating Council under my supervision, and then set 3 desks to receive the various complaints. It was after I had received the complaint and resolved them. That was when we were able to move the traders from Central Market to the Kejetia project.
So what will you do to please those dissatisfied market women or men who are not happy with the way you allocated the shop? How much are you taking as fees? How much do they pay for each of those shops? You have an idea how much it is? Thank you, Chair.
What I know that it varies depending on the size of
Share the range with us, whatever numbers you have. How much are they paying for those shops?
I know some is around 7,000. We have some around 12,000.
You don't have some above 12,000?
No, we have some above 12,000.
To state it.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. I said some around 7,000, some 12,000, and some above 12,000. I think it's about 25,000 something.
Yeah, Chairman, I raise this because, you know, government comes to Parliament under a Ministry of Local Government and gets approval for a loan facility to build a market. You are there making charges between 7,000 to 12,000 Ghana cedis for purposes of amortizing the loan. Yet the central government is not benefiting from that money. And when the agreement came before Parliament the last time, we requested that there must be a backup agreement between the KMA and the Ministry of Local Government and Government as to how the contribution of the market women will assist the central government in amortizing the loan. What do you have to say to this? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Honorable Member, to the best of my knowledge, there is an agreement among KMA, Ministry of Local Government, and Ministry of Finance. As to the sharing formula is what I don't know. I cannot tell, but I know that there was an
Has
agreement.
any money ever been paid to central government from that fund? And how much have accrued to that fund? Can you share with this committee?
Honorable member, if I see that I have that information, I will not be truthful to you. I don't have it now, but I'll find out.
Chairman, we will require that details to help government understand how it will service that debt.
Please, Leader, he says he doesn't have that information, so he can provide it. It's for KMA. If we make that demand of him, he may have to go to KMA and get that. So
But Chairman, he supervises KMA.
KMA is a central, an authority on its own.
Eh,
If we
but-
want it, we may ask.
No, Chairman, they come
Let's
here
discuss
and
it.
I
Let's
read,
discuss
okay,
it
we'll
at
discuss it
our
further.
meeting.
Okay, now what's the status of the Konfanachi maternity block project? A few weeks ago, there were some legitimate concerns raised about it. What's the status of it? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member. Honorable Member, the project has been awarded on contract. Initially, when the contractor and the consultants did reconnaissance survey, they made an indication that outwardly the building looked very strong, and they felt there was a possibility of doing reinforcement of the structure and continue with the project. Within the contract, the contractor was also supposed to do, after the signing of the contractor was supposed to do an in-depth structural integrity test of the building. So they needed to excavate, to look at the columns, look at the concrete, etc. Now, after doing the structural integrity test, the information they brought was that it has failed the test, and truly I went there myself. Some of the concrete you can use your hand to disintegrate them. So, and then most of the iron rods have also rusted. And then you could see that the type of iron rods they use for this structure are even smaller. So the consultant said that they would not like to advise the contractor to continue on with the project as it is or do reinforcement, but rather demolish the whole structure. So that is where we are now.
Chairman, crime, the incidence of crime in the Ashanti region, as I read it, crime is very high. Even the incidence of what criminologists call recidivism, it is again reported that in Ashanti is also very high. What do you intend to do as chairman of RESTEC to contain crime in the region, together with the traditional authorities and the people there? Thank you, Chair.
All right, thank you very much, Honorable Ranking Member. Honorable, it's true we've not been able to maybe totally eliminate crime in Ashanti region, but I know it's an impossibility anyway. But we brought it down significantly, even though I will be the first to admit that still there are some form of robberies, kidnapping, and sometimes you have highway robbery, etc. But the rate has come down significantly. I will, at this point, express my appreciation and gratitude to the members of the Regional Security Council and the chiefs and people of the region for giving me the needed support. In fact, we work on it. We are intensifying highway patrols, and we have joint teams, security teams made up of the police and the military. The police lead, and then the military gives them the support. Once a while, we do unannounced sweeps. We do some sweeps, intelligent-led sweeps in some areas, just to bring down the crime rate. But from 2017, I would say the security issues we inherited, we've done quite well. For instance, when we took over, the major security issues that were pending, one was the Agogo herdsmen minutes. And then we had the issue of relocation of the capital of Achimapa Angoma from Fwansi to Twediye as per the ruling of Supreme Court in 2012. We used to have protracted communal clashes between Ashanti youth and Zungu youth around Kwabri East area. We've been able to resolve all these things. If you might recall, the issue of our cattle herdsmen didn't start today. Even the first operation cow leg was in 1992. And in 2017, that was about 25 years. But because of the good systems we put in place, now Agogo is exporting plantain and maize to Burkina Faso. Said that when you go to Burkina Faso, Ouagadougou now, we have Agogo food market. That is where they sell plantain and maize. The other one, in the Supreme Court ruling, it was tough. If somebody having the district capital for more than 10 years, and all of a sudden with the ruling, they say move it from Fwansi to Twediye. But coup has prevailed, and with the support of the chiefs and the people of Fwansi and Twediye, successfully we've been able to relocate the capital from Fwansi to Twediye. Additionally, if we take the Ehia communal crisis, now we've been able to solve it. It was protracted almost every year it occurred. But what we did was that we needed to establish a new police station at the place and put some non-uniform people among the group so that they could provide intelligence anytime it wanted to raise its ugly head. And now the situation has come under control. Since 2008, we've not witnessed it again. So there are several achievements. I won't say that we performed extraordinary, but at least we've done well in the area of security. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
All right. I'm going by the arrangements here. Honorable Zera.
Zera.
It's your turn, yeah.
Ashanti, yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, Honorable Nominee. As Regional Minister, President's representative in Ashanti region. Ashanti region has over almost 5 million. The population of Ashanti region is about 5 million, right?
It's almost 6 million.
6 million now, yeah.
The projection for 2020 is 5,924,278.
So that's over 5 million people in Ashanti region alone. And we've read intermittently in the media about water shortages in parts of the region, especially in Kumasi. What have you been doing about it, and what will you do if you get the nod of this committee and go back to your position to ease the issues of water shortage on the people of Ashanti region?
All right, thank you very much. Yes, once a while we have problems with water in Ashanti region, and these have been due to breakdown in some of the equipment. For instance, at a point, the Owabi Waterworks, they had problem with power supply, and as a result, we needed to replace a generator there before they could pump. Once they couldn't pump the water, all those who were taking their supplies from that source definitely will have to have problems. Sometimes they will do diversion, but they will not be working very well. Some of the pipes are also very old, and you quite often see water bursting from place to place, and they need to work on it. When they are going to work on such ones, definitely they will have to close the taps and to make sure that they can do proper work. Besides that, if there are electricity problems, it also results in this one. But it's not very serious as of now. That is what I'll say. But once in a while, we do have experienced them. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Very well. Honorable Patrick Boma.
Thank you very much. Honorable, you live in Kumasi with Asante Hene, a very peaceful man, and I'm sure you have a very good working relationship with him. And the communities around Menchia Palace, you have Aswansi, Abuabo, Krofrom, Bichem, so all manner of persons living around. I read in the media, I just Googled you, issuing a statement on the 9th of October 2018. I didn't say I was superior to Nordness or Semensa. Reading this on Ghana Web, I realized there was an issue with a certain tape which was attributed to you. Having been a member of parliament and looking at Rotufo and the region you represent, Ashanti region has lived with Evers, Gans, Muslims. What is the story about this tape that I'm reading? It's
All right, thank you very much, Honorable Member. Honorable Member also saw the video, and I speak to this issue with the greatest of sorrow and the highest of passion. This tape, I should say that, is a pure ethnocentric concoction by somebody who dislikes me to the core. That tape is not my voice. I know nothing about it. I'm not the architect of it. The Honorable Chairman, I'll beg not to pass or talk too much about this issue because I filed a suit. I filed a 10 million suit at the High Court against Militant Publications Limited, publishers of the Inside newspaper, the acting editor of the Inside newspaper, and one Ni Titi Tete, who claims to be the CEO of Strategic Thinkers Network. And the case is pending before the High Court. It has been called once. So with your permission, I'll plead not to comment too much on the issue since it's before the court.
Very well.
very well,
It's
since
good
the
you
matter is
Sorry,
subject.
I'm saying it's good he's saying this because I was going to make a comment further. I didn't know that there was a suit pending. All right.
Oh, thank you, Chairman. Since the matter is sub judice, I will restrain myself and I wouldn't proceed. And I'll move to my second question, which is on industrialization in the Ashanti region. The Minister of Trade was here last week, Friday, and he made a very bold statement to the fact that Kumasi was going to be the second industrial city in Ghana. We've lived, I'm not too old, but I've seen that most of the industries in Kumasi are gone. KBL and all the timber industries that used to employ a lot of people are all gone. What are you going to do to support the trade minister and the government and the president to bring back the industrial and commercial life in Kumasi to where it used to be? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairman. Honorable Chairman, we are working on this. Before I became the regional minister in 2017, the government had already acquired land for free zone. Fortunately, it's in the constituency of Honorable Lawyer John Kuma. Besides that, recently when I became the regional minister, in collaboration with the Minister for Trade and Industries, we've acquired over 3,000 acres of land for industrial purposes. That is the same area we are supposed to have the Buankra interchange. To realize the dream of industrialization in the Ashanti region, in my next term, if you confirm me, My concentration will be on 3 major projects. Not that I will ignore the other, but there are 3 major if we want to push forward the industrialization agenda, as we are all wishing. 1, the completion of the international airport, so that people can fly from outside Ghana straight to Kumasi. And you can check in at Kumasi and take your luggage at your final destination, maybe in Europe. That's the first one. The second one, you see, Buankra Port has been on the drawing board for a long time. Honorable member, I can assure you that without any railway link between Tema and Buankra and Takrady and Buankra, the Buankra inland port will still be a mirage. So my focus will also be in the extension of railway line from Tema to Buankra and from Takrady to Buankra. When we obtain this, I'm telling you definitely the industrialization agenda will be successful.
Finally, Chairman, please your microphone. I want to ask a question that my brother from Asawase posed to one of your colleagues yesterday on substance abuse. Substance abuse. Most of the young people in and around Kumasi do take this tramadol. They call it Tramor. Some crack. And you know where they are. I don't want to sit here and mention the names. What have you been able to do to change people's mindsets on this substance abuse? It has to be a very important project in your second term. Thank you.
Thank you very much. First of all, some members of the Regional Security Council have been educating the youth and people in Ashanti region in general on the media landscape, especially on the radio. The regional police commander, the crime officer, they go on air. We get slots at the various radio stations where they go and educate the people against the use of all these drugs. The other thing we also do is what I mentioned about this intelligence-led sweeps. The only thing is that the strategy the current RESEC or the previous RESEC used was that when we make the arrest, we don't parade them publicly. Especially you do swoop, you see some weapons, etc. You come and show it, then you keep frightening people. So what we do is that when they are arrested, they are sent to the courts, they are prosecuted. If judgment is given in your favor, fine. If it's not given in your favor, then the law deals with them. Thank you.
All right, Honorable Samfiahi.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I want to first ask about the nominee. He has been in the region for the past 4 years, and he has been a member of parliament before. And it was what?
And I was with him at the ECOWAS Parliament.
Yes, we were in ECOWAS Parliament together. But at this stage, that's not what we are talking about. We are talking about different things altogether. So I'm sure he's aware that there are a lot of ongoing projects in the region, which some were started by the previous government, be it health facilities, schools, and so on and so forth. What effort have you made in the past 4 years to get the ongoing projects done, and what are you going to do, given the nod, to ensure that all those facilities are completed for the people in the region to benefit?
All right, thank you, my honorable member. Honorable Chairman, yes, it's true. There are some projects. Some started from the time of former President Kufuor, some started during the time of former President Mahama. In the case of the hospitals, we continue on with those projects. Now, if you take Tepa Municipal Hospital or Hafuano North Municipal Hospital, it was completed last year and then commissioned. Bekwai Hospital, we started during the time of the late Kutu Echampong and continued by subsequent governments, was also continued and handed over last year. That is, it was commissioned. But my understanding during the commissioning, what the health officers told us was that after the commissioning, that is when the contractor trains the staff on the new equipment, how to use the new equipment. I was in Bekwai last Friday. They have started using the facility. They told us you don't move all the people en bloc. So you go department by department. So you start with department where there's not too much pressure. So now they moved the administration there. They've moved the physiotherapy unit there. They've moved the X-ray unit there. And they are operating the mortuary. The information they gave me was that this week, the outpatient department will also move. And they say that as soon as the outpatient department moves to the place, automatically the wards must be released to them. Because if somebody comes, maybe the person should be on admission. It's not that time they will have to refer or transfer the person to the old site. So that one is ongoing. Konongo Municipal Hospital, or Asante Achim Central Municipal Hospital, the contractor and the consultant informed me that they will be able to finish by the end of this month. And that one, I trust they will finish by the end of this month. Kumewu, they said they can finish in 10 months. I have my doubts a little. That's one, you give it about 1 year plus. That they can finish that project. Afari, Military Hospital, that also they projected to complete by the end of this month. But the worst scenario is that Afari, they should be able to complete that project by the end of the second quarter, latest, by the end of the second quarter. Seria Regional Hospital, they projected to complete by the end of May. So all these projects are ongoing, and additional sword cutting have also been made. We are praying that we can get all these projects completed and the other new ones add on, because Ashanti region, we have serious health problems. So with the completion of all these, I'm telling you, maybe the problem will be resolved significantly. So we didn't abandon them. And some of the school projects too, we never abandoned them. We even completed most of them and added on. If you take for the 4-year period, educational infrastructure alone that we had in the region was 702. 424 for basic and 278 for senior high school. Most of them have been completed. So we did not, there are some 1 or 2 projects, maybe let me talk about the E block. Like Drobonso. Now the government has decided to add a boarding facility, because if you know that it will be difficult to operate that school as a community day school, because you can never have enough students from that catchment area. And the community too is not all that big. So the government is providing boarding facility to that one. So all these, we didn't abandon them. If you come to Oyoko, the students, we have students in there enrolled since I think 2018. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, the Barakese water system, is the major source of water to the people, particularly in Kumasi. I remember when I was a deputy minister, we had a lot of challenges with regards to encroachment of the reserved land for the facility. We started greening the area, growing trees and clipping crops just to reclaim the lost land. What are you doing? What are you going to do, given the North, to ensure that that facility is protected to prevent encroachment? Because when we lose it, the whole community will be in crisis. What are you going to do to ensure that that Barakasi facility is protected to continue to serve the people in Kumasi? And I believe that is in your constituency too. Or that's not in your constituency. Okay, all right.
All right, thank you very much, Honorable Member. Honorable Chairman, yes, he's right. If we go to Barakasi, there's encroachment. Some trees have been planted, more are being planted. But the major encroachment there is slightly different from the one at Owabi. This one, they've released the land for the cultivation of cocoa farms, that Barakasi area. And then when you go to Owabi, that one is building construction. What I intend proposing, if that will be acceptable by government, is to declare all buffer zones around water treatment plants as security zones. If you're able to declare these as security zones and you have security personnel mining those places, we can stop this. Because those who build, they build even in the night. You get there the following day, the person has built. You demolish, good, and next time somebody has built. So if it's possible, if that is possible, to declare buffer zones around water treatment plants as security zones, maybe that will help us. That is what I'm going to push there. As to whether it will be acceptable or not, I cannot tell. But that is what I'm going to propose.
I just wish to advise that for the Owabi area, the map zone, there was litigation involved. There's an area, resettlement area, where all the development was going on. After that, then there is the forest and the catchment area. We strove to the resettlement area, but the forest zone is where we should be very careful to avoid people encroaching. But some churches are already inside the forest zone. So if you look carefully, you will be able to identify those areas and protect them.
Thank you, Honorable Chairman.
Mr. Chairman, there's a group in Ashanti region called the Zongo Coalition. I believe they even petitioned this committee because I've seen that they served a copy to Mr. Speaker that the cake against the reappointment of Simon Semensa for allegedly making a disparaging statement about Northerners.
Honorable Chairman, I think I've responded to
I
this.
think because reading the report, I saw that they sent a copy to Mr. Speaker. Is that the same?
I don't
That's a
have
different
that,
thing.
but
No, but what I'm asking is that these people have written that they are kicking against the nominee of, the nomination of.
Matter is in court. The
Please,
subject
can I
matter
finish?
is-
Can you listen to me? I'm not asking you a question. What I'm asking the Honorable Minister, he's going to be a minister for all the people in the region. Why would you say to these people who are opposing your nomination as the Ashanti Regional Minister? That's the question I want to just ask you.
Thank you very much. Being minister for all in the region, and I'll continue to be minister for all in the region. But this particular issue, I said it in my submission, that I filed a 10 million suit against some people in the High Court. So I don't want to comment further. Thank you very much. For them saying they would like me or not, that is their right. They can say it. But I'm not going to comment on the basis for what they do.
Now, did you say you filed against this group? And I saw you mentioned particular name that you have sued. I mean, a news.
Honorable member, I think you said I made a disparaging statement against Northerners. And that is a video that was separated, which is fake. And for that matter, I filed a suit against 3 people. You see? No, I filed a suit. Maybe you were not here. I said I filed a suit, 10 million suit, against militant publishers of the Insight newspaper, the acting editor, Mr. Kufu, of the Insight newspaper, and one Ni Tete, who claims to be the chief executive officer of Strategic Thinkers Network, Strandec. And once they have filed the suit, and the case has even been called once, I don't want to comment any further. Mr. Chairman, with all apologies, I don't want to deliberate on this issue again, because the
Very
case
well.
is before
We've already said so earlier, but let's be clear about this. The rule is that you don't comment in a way as to prejudice the parties. So if a question is asked and I think that it will prejudice, I will disallow it. However, the point is well made. I was going to make a comment on that, but I didn't know that matter was subject to the case. Since you told me, I restrained myself. So, sorry.
Members will allow the chairman to be in charge so that he can rule out a member. But when you are asking questions and members are just throwing at you, I mean, it is not right.
I ignore all their sides, so let's work with. Honorable Patricia PJ, yes.
Right, thank you very much, Honorable Chairman. Congratulations, my regional minister, for this retaining your position as the regional minister for our region. We are very proud of you. I've worked with you, and I know your capabilities. But going through your handing over notes, I noticed at the appendices attached to the handing over notes that the decentralized stroke concentrated department, you still have town and country planning as one of the departments within there. And I've been wondering what happened to the passage of Act 925, which made LASPA the authority for that. So I want you to state over here, it might be an oversight and must be corrected. But what I want to get from you is how have you implemented that act in the region? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Honorable member, it's a mistake, and we have to correct it because we have the Land Use and Special Planning Authority replacing the town and country planning. So it was an error on our part. Yes, we are implementing them already. We have the committees in place. I directed during my first term all the MMDAs to submit their plans to the authority, the regional head of the authority. She is done with some of them, but it's not completed all. Again, I've instructed all the MMDAs not to issue even temporary permits to people in road reservations because they create a lot of problems. With these, if we implement them well, after the Land Use and Special Planning Authority has approved approved of the various layouts, I think it will help us and reduce some of the problems associated with planning within the communities in the Ashanti region. Thank you.
Right. Thank you very much. My next question lies with the industrialization. It's a follow-up of the industrialization program that you have for Ashanti. I have observed that in most of the markets in Ashanti region, especially in Kumasi, these markets are occupied by manufacturers of shoes. And if you have 3,000 acres of land at Ejoso, will you assure us, especially my constituents, who have so many, over 3,000 shoemakers residing in our land, who have been bedeviled with a lot of floods, spoiling their wares, will you assure us that you can work with the Ministry of Trade and get a site for us to reconstruct the shoe factory that we have missed within our community? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Actually, your MC, with your support, wrote to me that you need a place where you send all the footwear producers to. Even there was a request that we hand over the former shoe factory to them so that they could use that place. We sent the letter to the Ministry of Trade and Industries. We've not received response because part was leased out to a company that was manufacturing, a Czech company that was manufacturing footwear for the security services, which wasn't sustainable. The company more or less has collapsed. So we are still looking at possible places where we can get for them. But for now, we will follow up on the use of the former or the old shoe factory premises whilst we look for a permanent place for them, but with the approval of the Minister for Trade and Industries. Before then, I think you are aware, we moved some people from the central market to the Vinci area. All of them are footwear producers. So we are looking at it in its entirety. If we can get a common place where all of them will assemble and produce the footwear. Thank you very much.
And my final question. Having gone round at the assumption of school by the basic school, the pupils, I observed that Ashanti region, in my constituency in particular, there were some schools that had a population of about 100 students in a class. With the pandemic in mind, would you recommend to GES what would you recommend to GES to ensure safe and healthy environment for learning in our educational system? Thank you.
Right, thank you very much. On the reopening of the schools, I went round with the regional director, Ghana Education Service. There were some few schools where we realized that the people were mainly for a single classroom. So they arranged for temporary places for them, such that they could do the social distancing. They could observe social distancing protocol. These other schools we are talking about, I will inform the regional director to give me any school for which a classroom takes more than 35, 40 people, so that we can work on them and submit requests to Ministry of Education. Because they've done a lot for us. To have 424 educational infrastructure in basic school in 4 years is not small. And to have 378 in the senior high schools, I think is great achievement. But we look at the rest and also submit the request to the Ministry of Education. Thank you very much.
Honorable Samuel Ablakwa. Honorable Ablakwa, that's it. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, my question to the honorable nominee relates to the phase 2 project of the KJTR redevelopment project. I note that President Mahama initiated phase 1, and on the 2nd of May 2019, President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo and Otumfuo Osei-Tutu II jointly cut the sword for phase 2. But reading up on the project, it appears that it has stalled, and the contractors have stated publicly that congestion and the residents around in the way of the project are refusing to give way, and the project might even delay 2 years beyond the project completion cycle. This is quite an expensive project. I read that it costs about 258 million euros, and it's a facility that this House approved. And one would have thought that the project will be completed in good time so that the project can begin to pay for itself. As regional minister, I'm sure these facts are known to you. And what are you doing to expedite work on the phase 2 KJTR redevelopment project, which is of concern to many people in that enclave?
Thank you very much, Honorable Member. Honorable Member, the project has not stalled, and the contractor is on site. The pace of work is a bit slow because most of the prefabricated parts which they should have brought from UK delayed because of the COVID. Fortunately, most of them have arrived. What they are requesting for now is additional space. You know, where we relocated the people, the traders initially, is not the complete land space that they require. So they need additional space, which I've issued press release, I made those earlier, that they should relocate to a Binchi market, or Nanafie could be the second market, and raise course. We've shown them latest by 7th of this month, so that the contractor will have access to additional land, which they can speed up with the process. Even after this relocation, there will be another relocation until they get the final space for construction of phase 2. You know, initially we had problems too because of movement from the central market to KJTR. Then when we resolved that one, another movement. You know, like human being as we are, people resist. When there's change, you have people who resist. But fortunately, we've been able to talk to them, and they've agreed to move.
My second question is on a viral video which made the rounds last week. At least I saw it last week. A heart-wrenching video, very disheartening. Pregnant women who have delivered newborn babies. They and their babies were on the floor at the Menchia Government Hospital. It did break a lot of hearts. And I want to find out from you, as regional minister, if you saw that video and what you assure this committee you will do, if given the nod, to change the fortunes of the Menchia Government Hospital to tackle this matter, because it's really troubling.
All right, thank you very much. Actually, I have not seen that video. but somebody informed me. I went to the hospital, so the head of the hospital says they are going to investigate and get back to me. So when I went, they had also not seen the video. So I'm sure they will submit the report to me maybe during this week. When I get the content of the report, I will know the necessary steps to take to remedy the situation. Thank you very much.
I'm sure that when we are done, I can share the video with you on your way out.
Thank you very much. I'll be very grateful.
Since you are a friend of Parliament. My final question will be on you and the churches in the Ashanti region. I have seen a lot of publications about you seemingly fighting the church. On the 25th of November 2017, the Graphic Online reports that you stormed the Bethel, House of Bethel Ministry. They were conducting an all-night service, and the report says you caused the arrest of the pastor, that they were making too much noise. I also have another publication here on the 28th of November 2018. Noisy churches to be disconnected from electricity supply. Honorable Simon Osei Mensah. What do you have against the church in the Ashanti region, and why all this Gestapo arrest and the threats of disconnecting electricity and all of that? Exactly what is going on? Are you at war with the Christian churches in the Ashanti region?
Thank you very much, Honorable Member. Honorable Member, I'm somebody who is free with all the various things. And I will not do something against maybe a particular church or something. What happened was, it was around midnight. My house is just opposite the church, and the noise was too much. So I went there and told them that, no, it's late. Can you bring down the volume of your system? When I left, now because of the prayers, he's evil, he cannot sleep. Oh yes. Now the prayers, because of the prayers, he can't sleep. Let's shout. Then they increase it. So I came out. It was even risky for me. So I drove out of my house, went to Ija police station, and reported. And when they brought machine with an environmental officer to check the noise, the level of the noise, and they realized they had breached the law. So they arrested them and seized some of the equipment. I didn't seize them. I used the right channel to do it. And after that, Honorable Chairman, if you permit me, I'll read a letter the solicitors of the pastor wrote to me to apologize to me, if you so permit.
If you have it, you may read it. Yeah.
Owusu Afriye Chambers, barristers and solicitors. Addressed to Honorable Simon Osei Mensah, Ashanti Regional Minister, Kumasi, Ashanti. Dear Sir, incident at House of Bethel Ministry, Angomasu, Kumasi. Letter of apology. I write as solicitor for and on behalf of my client, Reverend Kwame Techi, of House of Bethel Ministry Church, Angomasu, Kumasi. I have been instructed by my client to write to sincerely apologize to you on the incident that happened or occurred at the House of Bethel Ministry Church, Angomasu, Kumasi, on 25th November 2017 at about 1 a.m. They added midnight, actually in the morning. 1 a.m. midnight. My client unreservedly apologized for his conduct as well as that of members of his congregation, who out of ignorance or naivety resisted and showed insubordination towards you. in your legitimate desire to ensure that noise level is reduced to the barest minimum at Angomaso community and the region as a whole. We hope that in the spirit of good neighborliness, you accept this apology in good faith, and we promise that such incident will never occur again. God bless you. Signed, Kwame MP Afriye SQ of Owusu Afriye Chambers, Barristers and Solicitors, Edum Kumasi.
Mr. Chairman, that is well noted. The second part of my question is the electricity. Your mic is on.
Yes, I'm
the
saying
second
that-
part of my question.
no, hold on, please.
Okay, sure.
Now you may table, well, having read it, you table it for a record. So please, the clerk will come for it.
Please, I have a follow-up. So, flowing from your answer, you can say that you are not against churches in the Ashanti region. Neither are you against Christianity in the Ashanti region.
Yes, please. As I said earlier, I have respect for all faiths, including Christianity. Even since being the regional minister for 4 years, every quarter, I have the Christian community come to the regional coordinating council to organize church service with me from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. every quarter for the whole 4 years. Thank you very much.
In effect, you have nothing against it.
I'm friends of them.
It will be interesting to know the noise levels when they come to you for that quarterly church services at 7 to 9 a.m. But the second part of my question, to refresh your memory, it's the publication I read, a threat you, or a notice you put out that you will disconnect the electricity of noisy churches. Did you really say that? Is that some kind of a fiat? And how do you intend to implement this, your interesting policy?
That is pure fake news. It's not true. I have no knowledge about it. I have never said this anyway. Thank you very much.
All right, Honorable John Kuma.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Congratulations to the Honorable Minister. You look very handsome in your kente. My question has to do with the dusty nature of roads in Kumasi, especially the Atonsu Agogo towards Bosontri areas. And then also the state of abandoned roads by road contractors in the region.
Honorable Member, the Atonsu Agogo towards Bosontri, is that part of Kumasi?
It's part of Ashanti region.
You said Kumasi roads.
Oh,
But
okay.
Kumasi ends at that junction. From that going is
I
Bosontri.
thought it was part of Greater Kumasi.
Yes, that part is Bosontri.
So maybe Kumasi and Greater Kumasi areas. And the rate at which contractors, road contractors, abandon projects in the region. And then, please, I want you to finally add the heavy traffic on our roads in Kumasi, in particular, central Kumasi. I'm talking about the Tech Road, Swami Roundabout, the Buakwa to Tanosu areas, and then lately from Santasi to Anyankwanta. What is accounting for this inconvenience for Kumasi residents?
Thank you very much, Honorable Member. Honorable Chairman, yes, it's true. Some of the roads under construction are dusty because we are in the dry season. Once a while, some few of the contractors try to water the road, but you know, after some few hours, you still have the dust back. What I've discussed with the road sector players is that why can't they use the strategy used by the Chinese. Let me give you two examples. From Ahinsai Brewery to Dumpasi Junction, where Chico is constructing. Chico has left the old road and doing the sides. So when they finish asphalting that side, they will divert the vehicle onto that side. So now when it rains, you don't have problem. When it is dry, you don't have problem. But most of the Ghanaian contractors, what I've seen is that they will grade about 10 kilometers. How can you water 10 kilometers? So they will do little, the next time you have the road and the dust again. The same thing applies to China Jew, who are doing the extension of the Sofo line interchange to Obuakwa. If you realize, now they've almost completed in front of Yasantua. So I'm sure after asphalting, they will ask them to leave the road, that old road, even though you have potholes, but you don't experience the dust.
But Honorable Minister, you're asking us why. We should be asking you.
No, it's rhetoric.
Why aren't you discussing this with the supervisors, the engineers?
Honorable Chair, that's why I said I've discussed with the road sector people that they should find out why they cannot do this. But the why I ask is rhetorical. It's not to you, Honorable Chairman, or members of the committee. It's just rhetoric statement. Thank you very much. So I'm sure if we can do it that way, we will not be experiencing this dust problem we have almost every day. Thank you very much.
Okay. Now, October 2021 will mark the 100-year anniversary since the passing on of Obahema Yasantua in the Seychelles Island. Some women pressure groups are lobbying and advocating that the Kumasi International Airport be named after her in memory of her, in honor of her memory. Please, what's your take on this matter?
Thank you very much. I don't have the capacity to say yes or no. I'll discuss with the appropriate authorities, and whatever they tell me, I will let the people know. Thank you very much.
Very well. Honorable Eric Opoku.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Honorable nominee, congratulations. The Ashanti Regional Coordinator for Girl Child Education on 21st of January 2021 made some startling revelations about some developments in Ashanti region. And I would like to draw your attention to that so that we can see how we'll be able to resolve it. According to her, Ashanti region recorded the highest cases of teenage pregnancy in 2019. But he said 2018-2019. And the fear is that with COVID and the associated restrictions, the shutting down of schools in 2020, they expect the numbers to even go up. But when you look at the breakdown of where these cases were recorded, you will be worried. At the upper primaries, primary 4, primary 5, primary 6, 128 cases were recorded. Junior high schools, 783 cases were recorded. Senior high schools, 310 cases were recorded, giving us a total of 1,221 cases of teenage pregnancy in Ashanti region alone. Honorable Minister, this is an unfortunate development, but it is emerging. So how do you propose to deal with a situation like this in Ashanti?
Thank you very much, Honorable Member. Honorable Chairman, I will sit before this august committee and pretend as if I know everything. I'm receiving this information for the first time, so I'll do my best to investigate and then find solutions to the problem. Thank you very much.
My second question has to do with the Akuma Dam irrigation project for tomato farmers. You know, Ghana spends about $100 million on the importation of tomatoes from Burkina Faso. And to be able to address the situation, we initiated the Akuma Dam irrigation project. The phase 1 of the irrigation project was completed in 2016, and the second phase was to take off in 2017. Can you update us as to the status of that project?
Thank you very much. Yes, it's true. The first phase was completed. The second phase has been started, but there are some slight problems, which I know the then Deputy Minister for Local Government, Honorable Collins Ntim, who happens to be the Member of Parliament there, work on it seriously, but I have not been there for the past maybe 1 year. So it will be difficult for me to see exactly the status of it, and I'll have to admit, it will be difficult for me to see exactly the status now.
Now my last question, Honorable Nominee. Earlier on, the minority leader posed a question to you on the Kejetia stores, the Kejetia project. But I'm looking at it from a different perspective. My perspective is that the KMA rented out the stores to the traders, and the traders were made to pay advance, covering the period of 5 years, which is in contravention with the Rent Act of this country. As the regional minister, you represent the president, the chief executive of this country, and that office imposes on you strict, immutable obligation to enforce the law. To enforce the law. Is it not the case that looking at what KMA did, it's like the KMA, your office, and for that matter, the government, is not respecting the laws of this country by charging advance more than what is provided for in the law, and thereby imposing untold hardships on the traders in Kumasi?
Thank you very much, Honorable Member. Honorable Member, then we may have to look at the agreement again. The monies were supposed to pay and to be used for amortization of the loan. So maybe we'll look at the agreement again. We'll look at it. Other than that, we cannot amortize the loan. So I'll look at the agreement again and see if there's the need maybe to come back to the House. We do that. Thank you very much.
Okay. Honorable Mama Yaya. Yes, Yaya.
Thank you very much, Honorable Simon. Congratulations on your nomination. You've been regional minister for the past 4 years, I think. And so you definitely were at post during the fight against illegal mining and Galamsey and etc. Sometimes the people get flushed out of the mining sites. But before then, a lot of degradation of the lands take place, where vast areas of forest cover is taken out, and you can just see miles and miles of, degraded lands left, and the chemicals used to pollute the water bodies around there. I'm talking about Tontochrome, Dunkwa area, and etc. Given your commitment to environmental issues, since you've started making life impossible for churches around Kumasi, the bigger environmental problems in the region. How are you dealing with those ones?
All right, thank you very much. You are right. The issue of environmental degradation as a result of the operations of galamseys has been a major issue. But I know last year, the Ministry for Lands and Natural Resources started a pilot project where they gave some few contracts to some people to start covering the pits and see how we can reclaim the land. They've finished with the pilot project, but I cannot say strictly that maybe they are going to roll it out or they will not roll it out. But we will request them, if I'm giving the nod, to extend the project to other areas. Even if we cannot plant vegetables and other things, we can do forestation there. We can plant trees and other things which are not edible, in case maybe you have some of these cyanide and other things used there. But we can plant trees to maybe reclaim the land. So I will discuss with them if they can rule out the pilot that they started last year. Thank you very much.
You know, as regional minister heading the Regional Security Committee, as the Council Committee, RECSEC, yeah, and then you have all these municipal and district, and then in your case, metropolitan mayors and chief executives under you. What really is the challenge in terms of fighting galamsey? Is it that the galamseyers are able to overpower the law enforcement agencies in the various districts? You don't see the huge excavators and graders ravaging the forest? Is it that, you know, it's not visible and the police force in the municipality or district cannot stop that from? What is really the underlying issues that is making it impossible for us to win this fight against illegal mining? Can we make all the mining activities legal?
Thank you very much. The illegality with the mining, I would say, are twofold. Those who don't have mining license, that the galamsey people going to mine, whichever form, that one is totally illegal. You can also have some who have proper mining license, and then they lease part to galamseyers to do galamsey. You know, the most difficult aspect is those who have legal mining license, who tend to do the galamsey. If you not take care, because they will produce their license, you might think what they are doing is right. But if you go down, you realize that no, they are breaching some of the provisions in the use of the license or for which the license was given. But those who don't have any license at all, dealing with them is a bit easier. You can send the military there, the police there, just to arrest them. And sometimes, I won't say confiscate, but impound their equipment. But it's like black marketing. You touch it here, they go to the other side and hide there and start doing their illegal activity. All that I will say is that all of us as a nation, even though some successes have been made, I won't say it's a total failure, no. Some successes have been made. But we need to do more to stop these illegal miners. And we should let them understand that the government policy is not to stop mining, but the government policy is to stop indiscriminate mining, irresponsible mining that affects the environment negatively. That spoils our water bodies, that spoils our vegetative cover, putting some substances in the soil which are not good for our health, etc. So to me, we need to do more. My proposal if I'm giving the nod. One is the institutions, for instance, maybe Operation Vanguard or Galamstock. These people, when they are coming to the region, must be put under the regional minister, who is the chairman of the Regional Security Council, instead of they being controlled from the top. Maybe if we do that, and the relationship between those at the ministry level and at the Regional Coordinating Council is stronger, definitely you can use the security down there when the need arises to arrest these people or solve the problems. But sometimes you have to go through maybe those Galamstock people and other things before you can do the work, because you don't have direct authority over them. And sometimes you don't want conflict of functions. So you try to avoid and use that one. But I think if they put them under the regional ministers will have the capacity to control them. And when need be, they can propose some remedial measures so that we can fight that. We all of us will have to fight it. I will never say that we don't have to fight it. We have to fight this canker. It's bad. It's not good for this country. Thank you very much.
The same, I'll exhaust all my questions on that subject matter. You are the regional minister, or you are the regional minister. There's, I believe, a military, I don't know what is a battalion. What's the size of the military in Kumasi? I don't know the size of the military in Kumasi, but I know.
You mean he should disclose the size of the military?
No. I'm saying that, I mean, it's not, if you check the records, you'll see. But we have
Please
military.
ask another question.
Yes, the same question. You have the military in Kumasi. You have a huge police force in Kumasi. As the regional security committee chair and head and political head, have you requested the army and the police to specifically go and flash out Galamsey activities anywhere in your region, and they have refused? Or why would you wait till Accra sends soldiers to come and then flash them out, that you would want them to operate under you when they come to the region? What is your own track record in stopping Galamsey activities in your own region?
Thank you very much. Once again, let me extend my appreciation and gratitude to the military command within the region. Both the GOC, the General Officer commanding the Central Command, and then the 4BN commander. They've been of enormous help to me. There's not a single time I've requested them to do something and they have refused. If I say, then I'm not being grateful. Any time I talk to them, they help me. I don't have a single time I say, oh, GOC, I want this or I want that. Where they think the action I want them to take is above them, then they will ask me to inform the Minister for Defense to discuss with their military high command. But they've never refused any request from me. I don't remember. Thank you.
Your own track record in fighting.
Honorable,
No,
you're
ask
done.
him. No, it is part of the question.
What was
He probably just forgot. I asked him about, he spoke about the military coming in, and when they come in, they should operate under the regional minister. So I said, but you are the regional minister, and you have a battalion there, you have the police force there. Have you requested their assistance and they have refused? And what is your own track record on the ground in fighting Galamsey, instead of waiting for the president to send an operation from Accra? So his own track record is what I want to hear.
Thank you very much. I think I've told you several times I've requested the military to go and arrest people, and they arrest them. It's even if you have, for instance, the Galamstock there, and they go to a particular site and arrest the people, they don't bring the equipment to me. They will rather take the equipment to where we have the Galamstock. They won't bring it to me because I cannot control those equipment, and I would not like them to take them also to the barracks. But where we are supposed to keep them, that is where they will keep them to. But my preoccupation is that they should arrest them.
Yeah, the question really is, we see your track record in stopping noise pollution. So what is your track record in stopping galamsey activities. That's the point. We have your track record in noise pollution.
How successful have you been in your fight against it?
My brother, we've arrested some people around Tuntukrum. We've arrested some people in the other forests and other areas. To me, the little that we can, we've done it. But the problem is still there. And we have to solve it to the latter. So my preoccupation is how we look at the structure, so that we will not have conflicting positions and deal with the issue as it is. But in general, the success is high. It's not as bad as we used to have. I know successive governments have tried. You understand it? But it's not a fight you can win overnight. So as we move along, like every system, you see your strong side, you see your weaknesses, and if you are able to solve some of the weaknesses, you improve upon it. And I know we are going to improve upon it. Thank you very much.
Leadership.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, earlier when the nominee was answering questions with regards to roads, he used phrases like, I have to look at it, my preoccupation, I will give a lot of concentration. I just want to find out from him, what is his role in the roads construction within the region?
Thank you very much. When I became the regional minister, the first thing I did was to look at the roads in general and identify the very bad ones and then prioritize them. I lobby from the Ministry of Roads and Highways to ensure that those reports that other feeder roads, urban roads, and then highways sent to the ministry, I follow them up to the point that they are approved and make sure that they are awarded. Some of them are awarded at the ministry level, the others that are awarded at the metropolitan level, and others awarded at the regional coordinating council level. So those that are awarded at the regional coordinating council, you know, we have an entity tender committee. They will handle it and make sure that the awards will go through if their documents are right. So that is my main role. And after that, I have to monitor to make sure that the contractor is doing the work continuously.
So, Mr. Chairman, so one can say that, or if one says that you are on top of the road construction in the region, to the extent that you know almost all the roads that are being done, their stages, who the contractors are, the challenges, and how they are awarded and all that. Will that be right?
At a point, I will know the status of each of them at a point, but not always, because as I said earlier, 189 contracts have been awarded. So if I sit here and say that at any given time, I know the status of all the 189 roads, then I'm not being truthful. But maybe at a particular time, I know A, B, and next time I know Z, but not all of them at the same time. Thank you very much.
Mr. Chairman, I just want to find out from him, there's a Petimpum Afueja Road in my constituency that was started in 2015. Why did it stop? Why was the contract terminated?
You know, I now have the list of roads that have stalled. Some of them, the contractors did not have the adequate capacity to work on the roads. And, you know, now roads are not pre-financed. The contracts are not pre-financed. You have to work and then you raise certificate. Some of them, they come short time, they run out of funds. And, you know, if you work less than 2%, you cannot even raise a certificate. Some of them, the consultants go to site and realize that this one you can't raise a certificate, and it becomes a problem for them. So they vary. The supporting man, we invited him once. He said he was going to go back to site. He's not gone back. The list we've received, we are going to meet all the contractors. And those we think cannot perform, we have to request for the termination of those contracts and re-award them to others, even though it will delay, but it was better we get somebody with the capacity to deliver than have somebody on the road for years who cannot deliver.
Mr. Chairman, this particular road was awarded almost 70% of the drains done, and the contract was terminated in 2019. Why has it delayed to now that it's not been re-awarded for completion?
You know, honorable member, you realize we could do very little in 2020. You see, it was March that we had this problem with COVID. And even we as a region, we are part of the lockdown. So there are several things that the COVID affected.
No, but 2019 was there. 2019, nothing happened in 2019 too.
No, but when you know very well, I think you are a guru in project management. You know that when you terminate a contract, you have to re-advertise and go through the procurement process again. So it's not like maybe I terminate a CMSS project today and I just tomorrow I re-award it to Honorable Muntaka. I can't do that. You have to still go through the procurement process. It's like you are starting the whole process afresh.
So is it the same that you say the reason for the Ascormon Pond, Sevilla, Kenton Chrono link, that was also awarded and terminated, and up to now, they're from Ascormon Pond, where the municipal assembly is, there's this road. It's supposed to have been part of the pencil factory road. That's supposed to go through Ascormon Pond, around the Chief's Palace, behind there. It goes into Kenton Chrono. In fact, for that one, I think only the covers were done, and it was terminated, and up to date, nothing has been done. Is it also the same challenges?
I'm not seeing that road very well, but I know that road network in those areas, most of them have been fixed. And even if we come to Kenton Chrono, the 55 million euro facility that Parliament you approved, Kenton Chrono area is part, and I know the contractor is working on some of the roads there. So I don't know the specific one you are talking about. But
I'm just talking about the Ascormon Pond area.
Yeah.
But let me just ask, the 189 roads projects that you said happen in the region, and Ascormon Pond Municipal is one of your municipalities under you. How many of them do you know that had happened within the Ascormon Pond Municipal?
Around the affordable housing area, we've tried those areas. And then,
where?
Asokorimanko, and the affordable housing area. We've tried those areas, and then...
Those were tied before 2016?
No, some other areas have been tied.
That's, what do you call it? Eija. Eija is not part of Ascormon Pond Municipal. That's where Dr. Mafo is.
I will check.
Because, Mr. Chairman, it's interesting to know that not one project was done in Ascormon Pond Municipal, and I hope that you take note that in this second phase, if given the nod, you pay attention for equity.
All right. Thank you. Well noted, Honorable Member.
Mr. Chairman, there was a publication and the video too was there. I mean, an interview you granted that you said the overhyped NDC Keretia Market project is a complete waste. Is that what you really meant? Yes.
Yes, I did see that Keretia project is very nice, but it created a lot of problems for us, and that is the bare truth. You see, Keretia, the function of Keretia was to serve as a lorry terminal to support central markets. But we changed the function as a lorry terminal to a market, to shops. The records available indicate that in 2015, before the commencement of the project, vehicles that were parking at that place were more than 1,000. But the project has provided for only 108 maximum parking space. So with this, once you've changed the function and you did not create an alternative avenue to cater for the original function that was being played by KGTR, you create a lot of dislocation. So let's assume from 2015, there's no additional commercial vehicle. It means you've thrown 900 vehicles outside there. That is why every roundabout you see in Kumasi now has been turned to a lorry park. That is why we cannot decongest the central business district area. So I said, yes, outwardly it's fine. There's created problem. One, if there was no increase in the number of vehicles, even the 900, where do they park? Because this type of project, what, to the best of my knowledge, if you want to do something like this, where at every station, you created 54 stations, where a maximum 2 vehicles can park, which is given as 1 minute, you create what we call a holding bay. A holding bay, so that when the commercial vehicle comes and it offloads, it drives to the holding bay and waits. That is an example that VIP has done. You see, VIP hasn't got enough space for all their buses to park. And as a result of that, getting to a Vinci, they bought land there which they are using as holding bay. So when you come and the passengers alight, you drive and go and park at the holding bay. When it's your time, then they will call you to come. So when you go to VIP now, always maximum 2 vehicles that you can find. The one loading and that one that is bringing passengers. But this one, we reduce the number of parking spaces and did not create a holding bay. So in the second phase, we needed to do some changes. So a whole floor in the second phase will be used as vehicle parking space. And again, the congestion we have there, you know, these traders, petty traders, we did not provide sufficient traditional type of trading system in the first phase, where you need maybe tabletop for so many people. So, honorable, yes, I said it, and this is the context in which I said, and I said there's no parking space for the commercial vehicles that were thrown out. There's no parking space for shoppers. There's no parking space for shop owners.
So, Mr. Chairman, first, I want to find out from him that data that he said, that about 1,000 vehicles were parked at Kedetia. Where is your source?
There is a report that I have at the coordinating council. So if you want me to provide, maybe you provide later. Thank you.
So you provide those the source, because I attended Central International up there. So I was daily going through Kedetia. And all of us who born and bred in Kumasi will say there had never been a time where around Kedetia is without traffic for the past 40 or so years. I mean, when it was just a roundabout, sometimes you can spend more than an hour just to go around the roundabout, and you know that. And you think that just because, in your view, sufficient car parking has not been provided, it makes the whole project a waste. You think that is fair to describe that project as a waste?
No, I've never said it's wasteful. I said it's a beautiful project, but pregnant with some problems. That's what I said.
No,
whoever will write the way the person
the
wants.
overhyped Kedetia market project is a complete waste. And the video is there. Unless you want to say that that's not the true meaning that you want to give, but that's what you said.
All right, what I said is the project is very beautiful, but there are a lot of problems associated with it. It's beautiful when you see it.
You said
and these were the things I said.
You said it was beautiful outside, but inside it is dirty. That was the word you used.
Mr. Chair, you didn't want to create that impression. In other words, he only wants you to clarify that you were not creating that impression. You were not creating that.
No, I was not creating. That is what I've
That's right. That's right.
And you also know that the Kedetia was just phase 1, and you admit that the phase 2 is coming. And you have also admitted that in the phase 2, there will be more parking space to be able to accommodate as much as possible. You think that the car parking space in the phase 2 will be sufficient to take all the traffic around the place?
No, it won't. But it will reduce it. Phase 3 might be able to do that.
So you agree that, after all, the project is not a waste?
I've not said that. This is your word. My word, I've never said it's a waste.
So you said it was not well thought through. Is that also something that you agree to repeat, that this is a project that has not been well thought through?
Honorable member, I think I've said several times that the project is a beautiful one, but it has come with a number of problems. But how somebody works it, that one, I cannot fault the person. But this is what I'm saying.
The chairman, earlier when he was answering the question where he said, I just want to, for the avoidance of that, you said that you never made any derogatory statement about Northerners.
I've never in my life.
And you said the matter has been filed in court.
Yes, please.
When was this done?
That was last year, September.
And how far has the case gone?
No, what I've said is that the case has been called once, so it's still at the court.
Mr. Chairman, I want to find out from the regional minister then why he did order the seizures of Eston Kovic Group Limited equipment.
Thank you very much. I was doing my work as the chairman of the Regional Security Council under the Intelligence and Security Act 526. I received a report that some Irish youth at Nyinahini wanted to go and ban equipment of a contractor. When I heard it, I called the regional police commander that they should impound the equipment and let us find out what the whole thing is about, instead of allowing them to ban the equipment. So that was done. They even brought the equipment to Nyinahini police station. And if you are aware, Nyinahini police station is just by the major road. So I went there and I saw these heavy trucks had been parked along the road, which also posed another risk. And I realized that the Irish youth were still not satisfied. So I requested that all those equipment be moved from Nyinahini to Nkawie, which is under a different jurisdiction. So when that was done, then I requested that they told me the people were going to mine bauxite and they had all the documents. So I said, then I want the documents. And when I get the documents and I'm satisfied, we can allow them to go and then talk to the youth. Because there was a security risk. And as part of my responsibility as the chairman of RESED, I need to solve the problem. And that is what I did as chairman of the Regional Security Council.
Mr. Chairman, so why was it difficult for you to release the equipment after the court ordered the release to their owners?
You see, I heard the order on air that I had not received any document. So I said, when I get the document from the court, the equipment will be released. And when they brought the documents, I reported to the minister, and he decided that we should release them. But I don't take verbal statement in such a situation. It would have been very risky. So when they gave me a copy of the order from the court, then we released the equipment.
Yeah, I perfectly agree with you. You cannot just a news item and act on based on the news item. But did you make effort to get the court to serve you with the necessary documentation?
What I did was I called the then Deputy Attorney General that if he has a copy of the court order, he should send it to me. And he sent the copy to me. And when I received it, I informed the Minister for Lands and
And that took 3 weeks.
You see, Honorable, to me, to be sincere to you, and if we look at this issue objectively, I saved the company. I'm saying if we look at this issue objectively, I saved Estenko Bik. Because if the average youth had burned the equipment, where was he going to get them back? So in reality, I rather saved the equipment.
I was just looking at the duration between the court ordering you to release the equipment and the time that you got it. And I said it took more than 3 weeks, and I thought that you thought that was a reasonable time for you to get the document and get it released.
I would say it's reasonable time because, I have to get in touch with the Attorney General, and not by word of mouth. I wrote to them, and they responded with a copy attached. And it was on that basis I informed the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources. So it wasn't like telephone conversation, because that issue has reached a stage where I didn't need to do on verbal issues. I needed something for which tomorrow I can attest to. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, earlier you was asked about town and country planning and the way in Kumasi in particular, the nature of the metropolis. Almost all reserved lands for hospital, for recreational, for schools are being encroached left, right, center, and sometimes with all the security challenges that it comes. Have you heard of the Bovine land issue?
Yeah, it has come to me. Some of the residents have petitioned.
When was the first time you heard about this complaint from the community? When was the first time you heard about this Bovine land and the conflict that was generating?
The first time was on radio.
Come again?
The first time was on radio when they said there was looming crisis at the place over the land. Who owns the land? Then the second time, you also reported to me. Even you wrote. Actually, it was not directly, I got information copy. So you also wrote to me. Then the residents have also petitioned me. I've asked the government representative at Asokore Mampo Municipal to hold on, and that the regional coordinating council is going to take over the case. I think I was talking with you, you giving me all the necessary information, and even promised me that beside what you wrote, you give me additional documents so that it will help us. I was talking with the landlords, they've also brought me documents. So we will form a small committee and look into the case. I've written to the lands officer. He's also brought me the site plan and then giving me who owns the place. So it's going to help us to resolve the problem.
Have you at any time requested this document 2018, 2019 from the assembly that they should bring it for you to study on this particular land?
No, I invited him to my office to bring me. That was just verbal. When I said I heard that there was looming crisis at the place. But this is the first time I've requested for actual documents. After some landlords, I think they were 3, they came to my office.
Yeah, the landlord association.
Yeah, they came to my office. Then I told them they should go and bring.
But there has never been a time where these documents of this land were in your possession.
I don't remember very well, apart from your letter that you wrote. I don't remember.
Now, the reason I'm asking is that, yes, it is, but it is a security issue as a regional minister. We've spoken at length about it, but the challenges that at the point that you were seized with the documents, that was 2018-19, and that you were studying it until you are done, everything should be held in abeyance.
Honorable, you know that letter, you gave me information copy. It was not directed.
This one was just 2021. The one that I did was just 2021.
No, there's an earlier one. Maybe you forgot it. You wrote to You wrote to certain department and you gave me a copy.
That was 2020.
Yes, yes.
So you are giving us assurance that you do whatever it takes to ensure that the right thing is done and then peace prevails in that community.
Yes, I'll do that.
Chairman, I want to refer the nominee to the Land Use and Spatial Planning Act 2016, specifically section 93, 3 and 4. And this I've done with a number of regional ministers. Because in 2016, this House decided that because of the rampant rezoning of public lands and other public reserve areas, if rezoning were going to be done, they have to come to this House for approval. But unfortunately, it looks like it's not been popularized. I just want to read that section for you. And the specific one, 93.3. A district special planning committee shall not grant a request for change of the existing zoning or land use unless the request as intended to make the zoning of the land comply with the structure plan or zoning scheme or the local plan. 4. Without limiting subsection 3, the change of use or rezoning of a public space shall be, it didn't even say may, it said shall be subjected to approval by Parliament. A number of districts don't seem to be working with this. They continue to fly under the old regime where they just do the rezoning at their end and leave it at that. What will you do to draw the attention of your MMDAs to comply fully with this section of the law?
Thank you very much. I will send a circular to all of them and quote the relevant sections as you just quoted. Fortunately, when I took over, I bought some of the laws which I found relevant for them in their operations, like the Land Use and Special Planning Authority Act, the Financial Administration Act, Financial Regulations, Audit Service Act, Procurement Law. All these ones are quite some from the state commission and distributed to all the MMDs. Said that where they are in doubt, they can make reference. So I'll quote it and then send a separate to all of them.
The Chairman, the Atonsu Agogo Road, earlier it was asked, the contractor seemed to have abandoned the road. It's creating so much dust. It's affecting the hospital that is there, the schools around, and most importantly, asthmatic patients, simply because they are not even watering, which you know is part of the cost build-up. What are you going to do to ensure that even as they do the construction, they will control the dust so that the residents can live in harmony without, especially the asthmatic patients?
Right. Thank you very much. We've discussed this issue several times with the contractor. Sometimes they could financial issues. And honorable member, if you admit that now we are still in the transition, and with this period, there's some sort of administrative inertia. There's some sort of administrative inertia because the Transition Act imposes some limitation in terms of financial obligations, recruitment, etc. So all these people you see as president representatives, is not everything that they can do now, especially when it comes to financial issues. So maybe when the full complement of the government is formed, most of these problems will be rectified. Thank you.
Chairman, earlier he was asked about the number of pregnancies in Asante region. Pregnancies among teenagers and students, and you said you were hearing it for the first time, right?
I said I cannot sit before this August committee and say that I know everything. But this one I'm hearing for the first time because I'm human. I don't want to say I know everything, it's impossible. So if I don't know, it's better I say I don't know and go and find out rather than just going to say something which might mean I'm deceiving the House, which is not good. Thank you.
My worry is that because you are the chair of the Regional Coordinating Council, and almost all the heads of the regional agencies are on that committee, the regional coordinating, the council, and they report to you the activities under them within the region. So I was surprised that this hadn't come to your notice.
Yes, you are right. You know, if you look at the membership of the Regional Coordinating Council, you have the presiding members of all the MMDs, the MMDCs, you have representatives from the Regional House of Chiefs, then all the regional heads are members without voting rights.
Yeah.
Because Ashanti region, we have 43 MMDs, even the presiding members and the MMDCs alone, that is 83. And when you add the regional heads, it's over 100, it's getting to about 140 something. Because of this, we could not meet during the COVID period. We could not. No, we are supposed to have at least 2 regional coordinating council meetings. But the COVID started somewhere middle of March 2020. And because of that, if I tell you regional coordinating council we could meet, it wasn't, we did it. Because definitely we are going to break the social distancing
protocol.
Thank you.
The chairman, last. Do you own a small scale mining license?
I don't.
And are you in partnership with any small scale mining company?
No.
Small scale?
No.
And have you ever aided any small scale mining company in its operation?
No.
Thank you, Mr.
Yeah, Deputy
Chairman, the nominee is in attire of cultural significance. When we were sworn in, I wore kente, and I was told that my kente had no name. Well, I was at a loss. You are an Ashanti. Can you, because you didn't wear this just for the sake of it, can you tell us the meaning of this kente? Speaker, at the presidential inauguration where he absented himself.
Leader, ignore anything that is not said in the mic.
Mr. Chair, I will ignore them, but I've given him reason.
Honorable Minister, kindly address me. Do you have the name of the cloth you're wearing? That's the question.
All right, thank you very much, Honorable Member. Honorable Member, a friend gave this kente to me, and he told me I should wear it. I should wear it to the vetting. And the meaning is that the different shades you see means that I am regional minister for all. Thank you.
This is very new. This is a very new design.
So, Mr. Chair, I often hear Krobia Asante Kotoko. Krobia Asante Kotoko. Can you take this opportunity to explain what that means and its significance? I say in Sabrani Bisa, I say Krobia Asante Kotoko. Omude intimidating
When I have the two board representative here, and that is Nana Oyokuhini, and then I have Barima Safo Chinibua Kudia also here, Kumawihini. I don't want to take the risk and make the mistake. I'll consult them and get the full name. Thank you.
You want him to enjoy that liberty? Very well. If you want him to enjoy that liberty of not explaining Krobia Asante Kotoko, that's fine. But, Honorable Nominee, the Regional Coordinating Council, you have an official residence. If you go to Central Region, there is one. Western Region, there is one. It's such a huge edifice. The
one you have at Ashanti region. Are there plans of putting it in shape, renovating the place?
Yeah, thank you. We're reaching to the finance minister. So maybe after he's gone through his vetting and if he's approved and the president swears him in, maybe he will act upon it. Thank you.
Then finally, Ashanti culture. Ashanti culture. You have a way you do it that everybody embraces it. Christian, Muslim, dignitaries from overseas and all that. How is it that for other people in Ghana, when they want to put out their culture, it is often seen as fetish? People don't engage. But you are able to proudly put yours out. Can you tell us how you've done that? How you do it? How you've made it an all-embracing aspect of your lives?
Thank you very much. First of all, I don't know and I will never say the culture of any group apart from Ashanti's fetish. Well, I want to disassociate myself with that. I will not say that. The Ashanti region is slightly different from all the other regions, in that with all the other regions, every paramount chief has his powers, has his territory, and controls that portion. When you come to Ashanti, we all pay reverence to Otumfuo the king. So when Otumfuo sits, everybody will obey whatever he says. And it's a tradition, a tested tradition that has been there for years. More than 300 years. So it's even older than modern Ghana. And they see themselves as one because they use one common language. Apart from Ashanti region, all other regions you have different languages and you have different paramountcies wielding different powers. That is why Ashanti we are able to do that, because we all respect Otumfuo.
You have not talked about your festivals. You have not talked about your festivals in Ashanti region. Your festival. The Akwesidai, can you enlighten us a bit?
Okay. You know, during Akwesidai, that is when all the chiefs and people of Ashanti go to pay reverence to Otumfuo. And Akwesidai has been there for a very long time. It's celebrated every 40 days, where Otumfuo will sit in state for the various groups to go and pay allegiance to him. That is something that has been there, as I said, for centuries. And because we all respect Otumfuo, it becomes difficult to break that tradition. And definitely, we are going to continue with it, because that is the symbol of the Ashanti. That is where you see the occupant of the golden stool sitting in state. Thank you very much.
I'm grateful.
Hallelujah.
Chairman, I intend to be brief, since the Honorable Muntaka knows the Ashanti region better than I do and appreciates its problem better than I do. But Minister nominee, communities such as Yalwa, Yati, Abuabu number 1, number 2, Asakori Mampong, and then Sabon Zongo, the youth are enthusiastic about soccer, football, yet they have no opportunity of training pitches for the purpose of exercising and equipping themselves with skills. Ashanti does have enormous opportunity of training out footballers who can be legends. What plans do you have for the Ashanti youth in generally, particularly in those areas that I have mentioned? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member. Honorable Chair, now football is a business, and we need to take it seriously. I will liaise with the Member of Parliament, Honorable Muntaka, and whoever becomes the municipal chief executive, so that we will request either through the Ministry of Youth and Sports or other agencies for possibly constructing an AstroTurf in that area so that they can use it and develop their football terrace. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chairman. There is some worrying report from the Small Arms Commission on illegal arms in the possession of many young people in Ashanti, in particular Kumasi. That itself facilitates the commission of crime, and that itself poses danger to peace. What do you intend to do about it? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. I've had discussions with the chair of the Small Arms Commission, Professor Reverend Frimpong Manson, and I've allocated an office at the Regional Coordinating Council to them to come and use it as temporary office while we do for permanent office for them, so that we can work together and try to arrest this menace. Thank you very much.
Chairman, probably this is for, you can say, Minister for Youth and Sports. The grooming of young ones in the secondary school. Ashanti has a lot of those institutions. The inter-school games itself used to produce a lot of excitement and produce potential youth even for the armed forces, for the Ghana police and others. It seemed at the national level to have been run down, like no interest in it. What do you intend to do to ignite new enthusiasm in those areas and to get those activities organized in the region?
Thank you very much. In fact, this question should have been a question directed at the Minister for Youth and Sports. You know, Honorable, until even I became the regional minister, I had not taken time even to think about the Regional Coordinating Council. You coordinate activities of all the sector ministers and even including security service. So you cannot formulate policies on your own. We can make proposal to the sector ministry, and if
so, what proposals will you have for the sector minister?
the proposal I'll make is maybe we re-energizing what we used to have, this inter-schools, inter-colleges, etc., to come back on stream. And when that is done, we can pick some of our good athletes and footballers all from there. Because previously, those were the areas we were getting most of the athletes, including the security services. Thank you very much.
You served on the ECOWAS Parliament, and as chairman was introducing you, you rose to be deputy speaker. Is that correct?
Yes, please. 4 deputy speakers.
What reforms do you want to see happen in relation to the ECOWAS Parliament vis-a-vis Ghana? What should we do? How do we elect our members? What more pronounced role do you want the ECOWAS Parliament to play? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. If members will recall, somewhere in 2014, we submitted a proposal where we had wanted member states to elect members to the ECOWAS Parliament outside the national parliament. But this was shut down here during the Authority of Health and State Summit here in Accra. I also say they can still fight for that so that they can get enhancement of their activities at the ECOWAS Parliament level. Again, we may have to look at the contributions towards ECOWAS and this issue of sovereignty. If you take the funding of ECOWAS, Nigeria contributes about 60%. Ghana contributes about 15%. That's the second highest. Between the two alone is about 75%. But when it comes to voting, it's sovereignty basis. So each country has the same vote. We may have to look at all these things going forward.
Thank you, Chairman. Chairman, just concluding on your CV, the last page 9, what is it that I'm reading? Letter of commendation and award of 1 million Ghana cedis. Is that right? Yes. Who gave you the award of 1 million Ghana cedis?
It's Agricultural Development Bank.
And they gave you 1 million?
Yes, those days.
For what? For what?
2,000.
For what?
And it's unfortunate for good performance. Let me see if I can get it somewhere here. 1 million those days is 2,000. It's unfortunate that I didn't know you. It's unfortunate I didn't know you and you were not my friend. I would have shared with you, but I shared with my staff.
I'm not interested in the sharing. Is that reflecting correctly? 1 million Ghana cedis?
No Ghana cedis. So you look at it, cedis. There's no Ghana there.
Okay.
Read it well.
1 million cedis.
Yeah, that's the old cedis.
You are still reporting as at then. 100,000. No. It just struck me. Now, when you are responding to the Honorable Deputy Leader, you said your beautiful, the kente you are wearing was a gift. Gift, is that correct? Use your mic.
Oh,
it's a gift.
Yes, a gift from a friend.
Gift registered within the code and ethics of Ghana as required by law.
No, not that one.
Or this one, Chairman says it doesn't qualify. So
it doesn't qualify.
I'll end with a profound statement that Olusegun Obasanjo made about gifts in the true cultural sense.
Yes.
And gifts meant to corrupt. That is not to associate you with it. He said that those other gifts that are cultural, they are normally a token and they are given in the open. I hope that this gift of Kente is a token and is given in the open. Chairman, with this, I'm done. Thank you.
Yes, it was given in the open in the presence of my wife and my family members. and you can see, Honorable, you can see my beautiful wife sitting there giving me the support.
Unfortunately, we can't see her face. So. Honorable Minister, I just want to make this observation. For all the entries to and exit of Kumasi, from Santasi entering Kumasi, Atonsu, your constituency entering Kumasi, Swami entering Kumasi, Bekwai is part of Santasi. You see that the traffic holdups in the evenings and in the mornings are extreme now. When I was a young man, even with my rickety vehicle, 20 minutes from Anyankwanta to Santasi, 20 minutes I'm there. But today, nothing will let me leave Bekwai for Kumasi in the morning because I will spend not less than 2 hours. That's about 30 kilometers. My observation is that The problem has nothing other than driver indiscipline. Look at all the places where the bottlenecks are. You spend about an hour from Kochi. When you get to Odenaho Kwadaso, the problem is the drivers who are using the left and right as stations. As soon as you cross there, there's a free movement. When you're coming from your constituency, you get to Atonsu. The problem is at the station, opposite the hospital. As soon as you leave there, there's a free movement. Coming from Sunyani towards Prempeh College, the problem is just around where the station is. I urge you to, at the very least, put your security men to regulate the activities of the commercial drivers that have created stations at those entrances. It will ease the traffic for us. On that note, we thank you for attending upon the House to answer questions. You are discharged for now. You hear from us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairman. I'm very grateful to you. Thank you.
Honourable members, we have about 1 hour, 5 minutes
We'll finish.
for the House to take its seat, take over the place. So let's see if we can finish with the next nominee before 2 o'clock. The House can sit at